So today we're going to be talking about Team Deathmatch in Valorant. For those of you who aren't aware, this was announced in the video put out by Valorant yesterday, the 2023 look ahead, where they announced in this video that there will be Team Deathmatch coming.
Ways for us to engage with all of you. So we'll see you soon. Maybe playing a new agent or a new map, in Premiere or at a live event, maybe checking out one of those new modes Andy was talking about, like Swift Play, or the one I'm really excited about, our take on Team Deathmatch.
So yeah, there it is. Team Deathmatch is coming to Valorant. I would assume that it's probably going to be coming out around episode 7 or sometime in episode 7, so that's still probably going to be like 6 months away or whatnot, would be my guess. But you know, this is the announcement. But when I first heard about this, I started actually thinking about what would Team Deathmatch in Valorant look like. And so let's start thinking about Team Deathmatch in Valorant, and obviously you've got stuff like the basics, right? It's things like score limits, you know, how long will it take, right? And I would assume, like most Team Deathmatches, it's gonna be aiming to be in that 10 to 15 minute range, but it could be shorter, it could be longer, we'll have to see. Obviously, I'm assuming that it would be a 5v5, and, you know, there's other things to consider, like is there a respawn timer or anything like that. But those are just the basics, and really when you start thinking about Valorant, there is some more serious concerns, I think, with a team deathmatch and how it's actually going to work. The first thing is, how serious is this mode meant to be? Is this just going to be another casual mode that's, you know, just an alternative warm-up that's just there alongside Swift Play, that's alongside Replication, Escalation, and just sits there? Some people play it, a lot of people don't, and, you know, it's just there, and, you know, it's not really that big of a deal. Or are they going to try and make this, you know, a more competitive mode? Is this meant to go alongside, you know, the normal competitive ranked mode, right? Is it going to be up on that pedestal alongside it? If so, then obviously you need to give it something to give it that meaning, be that its own kind of ranked value. You know, you could have two ranks in the game where you have your, you know, kind of mode with the spike going down rank, and then you have team deathmatch rank, and you know, those are two separate things, and you know, we see how good you are at both, right? Or you could have a system where potentially, you know, it all goes into the same rank, but maybe team deathmatch gives like a small boost to RR or a small loss to RR based on whether you win or lose, right? Like maybe you can get somewhere from 0 to 5 RR if you win, or 0 to -5 if you lose the team deathmatch game, right? That could be an interesting way of doing it. Would be an interesting thing as well for people, you know, who are on like 96 of 100, right, to get to that next rank. You play one game of team deathmatch to try and get up into that next rank. And obviously, if you lose, then you can just play a normal game of ranked and hope that, you know, that can take you up if you lose the team deathmatch. That, I think, would be maybe a decent idea and would give it some kind of meaning, right? Would give it some kind of reason to actually try, right? And I guess you could very slowly grind up if you were very, very good at team deathmatch, right? You could maybe very slowly get up the ranks by playing it, but you know, it would take a lot of grinding to do so probably. But I think that this will be a big deal, you know, how they want to approach this, right? Because if it is just another casual mode, I'm not sure that many people will play it after a while, right? Yeah, sure, when it's the new shiny thing, people will play it, right? But after, you know, 2 weeks, if it's just another casual mode to just hop into every so often, you know, some people will continue to play it. Maybe it will become like an alternative warm-up mode, you know, that's good for that. But other than that, right, it'll just kind of sit there, and I don't think people will give too much thought about it. I personally would probably want it to be, you know, a bit more serious, right? To give us that alternative way of like playing a bit more seriously, right? Like, let's say your ranked games are just going horrifically, right? You hop into a team deathmatch, you know, it's a bit more casual than perhaps a proper ranked game is. And, you know, you can just go on and kind of have a bit more fun, but still, you know, people are caring about what goes on. The second thing, and I think that this is a massive question for Valorant specifically, is how would agent abilities work in a team deathmatch, right? Will abilities even be a part of it? Will we just be like normal deathmatch but in teams? Or will abilities be a part of the game? Because if you don't have abilities, then it's probably going to be a bit boring, right? It probably will just be like a bit of a warm-up mode, and that is kind of it, because after a couple times of playing on each map, you know, a team deathmatch, right, it will become probably pretty stale. But if they do have abilities, then that brings up other problems as well, right? In terms of certain agents, you know, your Reinas, your Jets, your Razes, maybe your Sages as well. You know, are going to be picked like all the time, right? Like let's take Reyna, healing is going to be super good in a team deathmatch. Being able to get away after you get a kill or whatnot is going to be super good in a team deathmatch, right? Like that is kind of exactly what you want is a Reyna. But then you've got agents like Astra, like who's got time to place stars, and how are you going to know where to place those stars? If you're picking Astra in a team deathmatch, how is that ever going to work, right? So you can already see that some agents are going to fit this mode like super well and some just are not and going to be horrific and clunky and not make any sense. And so that means, do you have to try and balance the agents for each mode? Does each agent get like a couple of abilities that they can use, to try and like balance them out somewhat? And try and give, maybe Astra like Astra's best abilities and Reyna maybe gets, some of the worst abilities or whatever, right? Is that how it works? And then you've got other things as well, like ult points. Would ultimates be in this mode, right? Do you get ultimates for getting kills? I could see that definitely being a part of it, but again, certain ultimates are just going to be more useless than others, right? Where do you put a Viper's Pit in Team Deathmatch? Right? People are just going to be running around you. No one's going to go into that Viper's Pit. You're just going to put it in the middle of the map and then people are just going to ignore you? Right? An Astra ult. What does an Astra ult do in Team Deathmatch? Right? Where would you place a Sova? Like, how would you do a Sova ult safely? Right? What part of the map would you think, like, I'm certainly safe here? Maybe there's, like, certain corners on the map and whatnot. You could do it on some maps, but, for a lot of this, it's going to be pretty tricky, to get that full Sova ult off without someone, just running you down. That's going to, not be too easy. So you can already see there's, again, clunkiness there as well with the ult situation. I think that this is honestly the crucial thing. If they get this right, then this would be great. And I think the mode would be great if they could strike that balance somehow. But if we are just going to get, no abilities because we can't balance it, I think it would just be a bit boring. And again, like, you've got to base this on how serious it is as well, right? Like, if it is just a casual mode, then obviously you don't have to care about the balance of it too much. But again, if it is just another casual mode, then are people really going to be playing this, after a couple weeks after it first comes out? And then finally, you've got guns and economy as well, right? How do the guns work in the game? Is it like escalation where you get given different guns for different scores? But at that point, are you just copying escalation? So I kind of doubt it would be that because it's kind of already that. That's what escalation is. Do you get to choose whatever gun you want, like normal deathmatch, right? Because I can see that having some problems as well, right? With, certainly at low ranks, like, Odin spammers just being a big part of it, or, dying to an op or a judge. Would become very tiresome, I think, very, very quickly in this kind of mode. So does everyone only get Phantom or Vandal? Like, that's the only two guns you can choose from. But that kind of gives a preference to those guns, and, you might not want to use those guns. So, there's problems here. You can see already, again, there is problems here. And, is there an economy to it, right? Do you get to buy guns at a certain point, right? Do you have to build an economy or something like that? But then if you have to build an economy and let's say you get, more money for getting more kills, more money, more kills, does that become a problem of where, then it's just like the rich get richer and you just storm away with the game because you can afford better guns earlier on, right? So that wouldn't really work either. So you see that, again, there are problems. And again, this could make or break the mode, right? If they get this wrong, then I think that, again, the mode wouldn't be that fun. So whilst the idea of Team Deathmatch sounds like a really cool idea and I am excited for it, just thinking about all of these questions and, pinning it back to how serious they want it to be, and then based on that, how abilities and the guns and economy work, if those three things aren't all meshed together to make it like a perfect mode, I could see this not really working that well. And so I'm not going to say that it isn't going to work because it very well could. And I do trust the devs, they definitely would have thought about this stuff and they're going to be planning this out and whatnot. But I think that there is a part of me that worries that, if they do get it wrong, then it could potentially be a bit of a flop and just a mode that kind of, exists like, a replication or whatever where, yeah, sure, every so often someone might play it. But other than that, it just kind of sits there and it's not really a major part of the game. But those are just some of my thoughts. I'd love to hear some of your comments down below of what you think about Team Deathmatch and how you think it will work and what you would do given everything I've just said. How would you answer those questions? What would be your ideal Team Deathmatch in Valorant?